Millions have watched their work, admired their craft, respected their legacy. But behind the polished interviews and carefully chosen words, there are always stories that take years to be told. And now, at 67, Jamie Lee Curtis is opening up about her connection to Rob Reiner, and what it reveals isn't scandal, it's something far more human. To understand the weight of her words, you have to go back to the beginning. Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't just another aspiring actress. She was born into Hollywood royalty, the daughter of Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh. From the outside, it seemed like her path was already written. But growing up in that shadow came with its own quiet pressure. She wasn't just trying to succeed, she was trying to define herself beyond expectations. Her early years in the industry weren't easy. Despite her family name, Curtis had to prove she belonged. Auditions, rejections, and uncertainty shaped her journey. Then came the moment that changed everything, her breakout role in the horror film Halloween. Overnight, she became a recognizable face. But fame, as she would later reflect, was only part of the story. At the same time, Rob Reiner was carving his own path. The son of legendary comedian Carl Reiner, he grew up surrounded by creativity. But like Curtis, he had to step out of a powerful legacy. His early success as an actor on All in the Family introduced him to audiences, but his ambitions stretched far beyond performance. He wanted to tell stories. When their worlds eventually overlapped through the Hollywood circle, it wasn't through dramatic headlines, but through shared understanding. Both knew what it meant to carry expectations. Both understood the quiet pressure of being constantly evaluated, not just for talent, but for identity. According to those familiar with the industry at the time, their interactions reflected a mix of respect and distance. They weren't rivals, but they weren't deeply intertwined either. Instead, there was something more subtle, two artists navigating the same unpredictable landscape in very different ways. Curtis has since hinted that what stood out to her about Reiner wasn't just his success, but his approach. He wasn't chasing attention. He was chasing meaning. Films like Stand By Me and When Harry Met Sally revealed a filmmaker deeply interested in human emotion, not just entertainment. But behind that dedication came pressure. Those who worked in that era often describe Hollywood as both inspiring and relentless. Directors carried the weight of entire productions. Actors faced constant scrutiny. And according to some accounts, that intensity shaped how relationships formed, and sometimes how they quietly drifted apart. There were moments, insiders suggest, when creative philosophies didn't always align. Curtis, known for her adaptability and resilience, approached her work with a different rhythm than Reiner's meticulous storytelling style. These differences weren't conflicts, but they created a distance that was felt even if never spoken aloud. One turning point often discussed came during a period when both were evolving in their careers. Curtis was expanding beyond genre roles, proving her versatility. Reiner was solidifying his place as a director with a distinct voice. Their paths, once loosely connected, began to move in different directions. And yet, the respect remained. In later reflections, Curtis has suggested that what people often interpret as tension is sometimes just growth. In an industry that constantly pushes people to reinvent themselves, not every connection is meant to last in the same way. Sometimes, people simply change. As the years passed, both built legacies that stood on their own. Curtis became known not just for her performances, but for her honesty and openness about personal struggles. Reiner became one of the defining filmmakers of his generation, shaping stories that audiences still revisit today. Looking back now, the story isn't about conflict. It's about perspective. It's about what happens when two people, shaped by similar pressures, choose different paths to navigate them. And how, over time, those choices create distance. Not out of disagreement, but out of evolution. Because in Hollywood, not every story is loud. Some are quiet, unspoken, understood only in hindsight. And maybe that's what Jamie Lee Curtis is really revealing now. Not a hidden feud, but a reminder that behind every career, every connection, every moment we see on screen, there are layers we may never fully understand. Sometimes, the most meaningful stories aren't the ones filled with drama. They're the ones filled with growth. If this story gave you a new perspective, Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think these quiet distances matter more than public rivalries? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more cinematic deep dives into the untold stories of Hollywood legends.